Hello, and welcome back to another episode. So, this week we're going to be talking about the power of mindset in eating disorder recovery. Thank you for joining for another episode of the Eating Disorder Recovery for Women podcast. This is where we help women learn how to have lifelong recovery by installing new habits, creating new beliefs and a mindset, and healing their relationship with food. Mindset is really what created the groundwork for me to recover from my eating disorder. So if you've listened to my story, you know that I've struggled in the past with an eating disorder. I've been in remission for 4 years, and I used to struggle with binge eating, restrictive eating patterns, and just over exercising, and I started to have health complications. So there was a time where I was taking care of a patient in the hospital who had a ruptured esophagus due to bulimia and purging her food. So that really made me wake up and realize that, wow, if I keep this up, that could actually be me in the hospital bed. And when I saw that, I just realized I did not want to be that sick. Like, I had to learn to love myself no matter what my body looked like. I had to learn how to heal. And somehow I knew that once I achieved the balance that I was looking for, I wouldn't have to worry about my weight anymore. I knew that once I had achieved this place of balance, things would feel more natural and I would start to feel like my life was not such a forced struggle all the time. So thankfully, I was able to kind of get that hope in place where I kind of knew that in the future, if I just learn, if I just get to this place where I can accept the outcome of my body gaining weight and my shape changing, even if it means that I have to gain more weight. I was already overweight, so that was hard for me. I had to be okay with it because if I wasn't willing to face that reality, then I may never recover. And I just knew that it wasn't worth losing my life. So I will just never forget these moments, like moments where I took care of that patient and I had that realization that that could literally be me next. And then also I had coworkers telling me that my skin looked red, and they were pulling me aside and asking me, "Are you okay?" And they were worried about my health, and they were trying to tell me in a very loving way that something wasn't right. And I was just struggling so much inside that I would get mad. I would try my best to be polite and everything, but I'm pretty sure I let some anger come off and steam blow off here and there. But when it comes to mindset is really where we start our recovery. So where our beliefs and our minds and our thoughts lie, that is what becomes us. So we need to kind of evaluate what is our daily thought dialogue and what do we believe. There's this thing that Tony Robbins likes to talk about called limiting beliefs, and I believe that limiting beliefs and negative thinking, they go hand in hand to create a really poor quality of life. That a lot of times that's the reason why we end up at Tony Robbins seminars, is because we're not happy. We're trying to make something different for our lives. We know that it's possible. We've seen others do it, and we don't want to settle, but we just don't know how. It's so hard. But one of the things that I've learned is that when we start to notice that we have a problem with our eating, those roots have been planted years ago. The seeds have been planted. Your thoughts and your brain have been kind of nurtured in this direction for years at a time. So it becomes this thing where we have to start training ourselves to think differently. That is not an easy process. And what I have discovered during this process is a system that I write about in my books, and I've actually started to put into trainings. I'm very excited to share that I've started a 3-day free training series that you can actually get. You can sign up in the link here in the show notes to go to that free training. You definitely want to get your spot in on that. The training will happen in video on YouTube. So just make sure that you're examining what your thoughts are on a regular basis, because those thoughts, those beliefs, they actually create a reality, and we can't get around this. We do have to take responsibility for the thoughts that are crossing our minds each and every single moment, because if those thoughts are negative, we're going to start looking for circumstances in our lives, situations that can actually confirm those beliefs. So if we believe that we're unlovable, for example, we're going to start looking at every reason why we're going to be forever single if somebody turns us down if we ask them out. or if somebody doesn't return our call or treats us a certain way, we start to do confirmation that that is a true fact, but those are false lies. So we don't actually want to keep those things around. We want to start learning what we're actually worth, and we want to start training ourselves to think thoughts that actually build our lives in that direction. So the other thing is society doesn't support us in this area. We get a lot of mixed messages, what bodies are good, and we see a lot of advertising with certain bodies in it. And I just want to say that the diet industry and just the clothing industry, all those things, they never had your health as a priority. It's all about making money, making the highest profit. So just remembering to opt out of that and remember that you have to actually be in charge of creating the perspective of yourself that will carry you forward and help you heal. And so that's what this training is all about. And also just remembering that when you're dealing with negative limiting beliefs, those things create pathways in your brain that solidify themselves permanently. And I read something in a book recently that my friend wrote that gave an analogy of positive thinking being like Teflon around a pan. So when we start to build that positive framework, it actually strengthens our brain's ability to deflect negativity, and we start to automatically think positive. So that is the beautiful part of positive thinking versus negative thinking. I just want to let you know as we wrap up this episode that I just want to remind you that it's not easy and it's not natural, because we have so much negativity flying around us that we have to actually take responsibility and change that for ourselves. So we'll see you next week.